It's a nigga out there trying me, boy. But nope.
Somebody trying you?
Nope, of course. But it's like, it's too freshman-y. It's too JV. It's too beneath me and below me. And I want to get in the field, but
not yet.
I can't with you, with the likes of you.
Okay.
With the likes of you, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun. It's going to look like bullying.
I haven't even seen this. So.
Yeah, I ain't seen this.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's good.
The first time you see it won't be because I alerted you to it. Just know I see all things, buddy, and not yet.
Hey, Joe. I know you're watching again. So, what's up? I've been listening again to the Joe Budden podcast, and recently Melyssa Ford has announced that she is going to make her own podcast. I don't know if that means she's not going to be on Joe's podcast anymore. She's going to do her own thing. I don't know the details of that portion of it because there's been so much drama outside of all of the details of this podcast.
Yeah.
So first off, I see a video on Twitter, it made my timeline of, it was like a promo video, and she walks into the set, sits down, brings the mic up close to her, and then it shows like the date, like October 1st. And then it says the title at the time. I think they might have edited it out at this point. But the title was The Menopaud. The Menopaud.
I don't like it. Sounds like menopause. Is that the point? Okay, my bad. Maybe it was just
Yeah.
gross.
And so she went back onto the Joe Budden podcast to talk about it at one point, and she's talking about how one of her friends is helping her with it, and then they've also got somebody else that's, going to be talking about like female issues and all this other stuff. So like it is supposed to be about that kind of stuff. But note that she says she's working on it with some of her friends.
Is this a solo venture?
Yeah.
No, as a matter of fact, S, who everybody has kind of met up here, S is one of my co-hosts.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
dope. Like
S has a master's in nutrition science, and so a lot of the discussion is going to be centered around the lifestyle of women who are about to hit the transition or in the middle of the transition or just past it and want to offer sage wisdom, but, just a lot of lifestyle changes have to happen, like fitness, diet, et cetera, et cetera. So the other host, her name is Tanya Thornton, and she has 25 years experience in the fitness industry, Pilates and strength training and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, a image comes up with her hot and bothered with Melyssa Ford coming out, I think the same day as what she had on the other one. So understandably, people were confused because she already had a thing that said the Menopaud. So like, why the name change?
Right.
So first of all, she's been basically beefing with one of the girls from See the Thing Is or whatever old podcast that Joe had on
Melyssa
the network.
Ford is?
She's basically been on again, off again beefing
But
with
wait,
one of those
they
girls.
got beef though. Like those girls. Those two girls, Bridget and the
Well, there was
girl.
originally 3 girls on that show.
Right. We're not talking about the one that left because she didn't like the fact that Joe was fucking dogs.
Okay.
I'm talking about the two that
Two
stayed.
girls.
The
they got
kind of
beef with each
light-skinned
other.
Asian looking one, and then the light-skinned girl.
I think it's the light skinned
with the
girl.
bob.
I think
That's who
her.
Melyssa Ford is. I can
think.
see that because she seems very confrontational.
I think her name is Mandy.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So she comes on and she's like basically throwing shots at her on Twitter or whatever. And then Melyssa comes on. She talks about the podcast again on Joe's podcast. This time, all of a sudden, it doesn't include any of her friends.
Same people?
Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford is a solo podcast where I'll be joined by some of my really great girlfriends occasionally as guest hosts. Stay tuned to see who they are.
Okay.
And then she does an Instagram live where she basically talks about how she came up with the Menopaud, but like she felt like she didn't want to eliminate men's point of view from her podcast. So now it's Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford. So it's Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford. This podcast called Hot and Bothered, they start doing Instagram stories about how the fact that they already have a podcast called Hot and Bothered. So like you can't just come out of here and make some new podcast.
So wait, who is it? Like, is it? Are they big? Do they got
No, it's some chick and some gay guy.
I woke up on Monday morning to a DM from a stranger saying somebody else is using your name, your podcast name. So I obviously immediately sent it to Chris, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then we spend the next 48 hours spiraling, being like, why is this happening? And not only is our name being used as the name of another podcast, but our slogan is also being used in this person's bio, and in the caption of their Instagram post is, quote, "Are you hot or are you bothered?" Does that sound familiar?
It sounds a little familiar.
Does that sound familiar?
It sounds a little familiar.
Does that sound familiar?
I've heard it before.
I feel like I've heard that before.
I've heard it before.
I just like, I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like that's super original. I don't know. I'm just like maybe a little torn about that.
But apparently she even stole.
I mean, I respect that though, because I wouldn't want nobody to just walk in and be like, yeah, no, we are back of the bus.
Yeah. Yes. Like, I'm back of the bus with Joe Budden. Like, yeah, no, fuck that.
But Joe, you are. I don't think he watched like that.
No,
I think
no. I got a I told you so moment in this. That's why I brought this up. But anyway.
Mandy B. Thank you, MoFly.
Mandy B. Okay, cool. Then she responds to them by basically saying, this is Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford. You don't have Melyssa Ford. You don't have a brand like mine. All this dumb shit, right? And so
that's their name. No, it's still
I know. I know. And then the girl who she, like I told you, she said she had friends working on this podcast with her.
Uh-huh.
The girl who basically, from what I've seen, has trademarked the Menopaud some months ago, basically came in and said, like, yeah, we had the Menopaud. We were working on this for like months. But then she came to us with some bogus ass contracts. And so we were like, yeah, we're not fucking signing those.
Well, first of all, it wasn't it wasn't her podcast. It was an idea that I came up with. I shared it with her, with another friend of mine, Tanya. And then I came up with the name. We didn't get to the contract. We didn't get to anything. She just started announcing it. And then basically when it's like, you know, it was my idea. I came up with the name. I trademarked it. And we've been working on it collectively. Like, it was supposed to be a partnership. And then it turned into the Menopaud with Melyssa Ford. And I'm just not with that. I don't care about being famous. That wasn't the point of the podcast. It was to share information. She just took it. I mean, it's obvious she wants her own show. So good luck to her. I wish her all the best. But yeah, it wasn't going to work out. We were given a contract. We were not cool with the contract. She said that was the wrong one. She was going to give us an updated version. And then we never spoke to her again. She never hit us back. And then, you know, I had to send her an email to let her know that she can't use the name because I trademarked the name. And that was it. Like, I never heard from her. Next thing I know, she changed it to Hot and Bothered and was announcing it on the pod.
It's just like, bro, what the fuck is happening with all of this? And so then my I told you so moment, they get on there and Melissa's like, yeah, we stole your podcast. Da, 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 da. Joe doubles down on her saying that. He's like,
yeah, y'all shut the fuck. Listen, it's Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford, all right? Them white bitches that we stole that name from ain't make no noise. What they did? What have they done?
The original one, dun 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 dun. Ours goes dun dun dun
yeah,
dun dun.
Come on, man. Listen, we got a Melyssa Ford and they don't. That's why it's Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford. Who cares about the bitches I took this name from? I took it, bitch. My voice is louder. I can steal from smaller creators and pass it on.
Oh, that's fucked up. Don't do that. Come on.
Hey, I do that shit. Hey, the niggas with 7 views be cooking sometimes.
Give them. Let me get
Snatchies. Hey, you gotta check the views. Nigga be like 25 views.
No
like, how long that was out? For months. Oh, what? Give me that tape.
You made it a hotline.
I made it a hot song, man. What you gonna do? I'm going to hell.
That's fucked up.
First
Joe is watching the podcast.
I'm about to say that nigga just kind of confirmed. Anyways, that don't mean he's specifically watching us, but he definitely
Joe has seen us.
He's definitely engagement farming.
Yes.
That's all it is, right? He's going to smaller channels to see what normal people are talking about.
Yes.
So that he can bring it up to his expanded base.
Yes,
I
for
mean,
sure.
It's not even really a bad thing to do. It's something that I think a lot of channels should utilize. It's pretty
Oh,
good
for sure,
marketing
for sure,
tool.
for sure. It's,
Anyways,
it's getting
without
into
giving
the
away
streets.
too much tricks to the trade here. This all sounds very messy. This is
Extremely
not a
messy.
very effective rollout.
No, it's getting now. At some point, I do kind of feel like there's a possibility where the two Hot and Bothered podcasts maybe came together to promo both of their brands, but everything else is extremely messy, and there's no other way you can explain it.
Johnny said enough with these female podcasts.
I saw
You know how they want to get away with our podcast? Yeah, take all the mics away from the men. Take them away from these women. We all gonna be podcastless.